Welcome back to my ASMR channel. Today I'm going to be doing a video about red flags and green flags when dating. This was requested in the comments on one of my videos, so thank you for that. I wrote down some notes, so let's get into it. And this is going to be different for everyone. I'm sure your red flags and green flags, but this is just kind of what I instantly thought of when this question came up. So, the first thing I thought of is a red flag. I'm going to go through the red flags first. The first red flag that I have a problem with is if the person you're dating talks about their ex, especially first date. This is like a no-no for me. And continuously talking about their ex thereafter is just a big no. But this has happened to me, okay? It's happened a couple times on first dates and thereafter. But I'm not saying you need to totally give up on this person if they do this, because I think everyone's different, and I think sometimes people ask about exes on dates. But I don't mind talking about your ex relationship to learn what you learned from that and those type of scenarios. But I think it definitely shouldn't be brought up on the first date, and I think that you shouldn't really get too deep into it. But this is just me personally. I don't want to hear about your ex, and I don't want to hear about the details of your ex relationship. I kind of want to start new. I want to start fresh, and I want it to be about us. So it's not really that important to me, except for us talking about what you learned from that, or how long that relationship was, to let me know if you can commit. So there's certain areas for it that it is okay. But this has happened to me where someone talked about their ex on the first date, and I kind of cringed, But you also have to remember that that person doesn't know your ex and doesn't know things that, bother you, right off the bat. So I think there's also a way to handle it if it does come up. I feel like you can kind of bring it up in a lighthearted, funny way, oh no, talking about our exes on the first date or something like that. You can say that if it bothers you. Or you can just kind of, I guess, brush it off and move on to the next topic. But that is what I have for one of the red flags, is this person talks about their ex. And another thing is if they have a baby mama or an ex-wife and they're talking badly constantly about that person. That to me is a major red flag. You can have a bad relationship and not like that person, and maybe that person's a horrible person or whatever, but I feel like you shouldn't harp on it, maybe. And especially if it's your child's mother or father, then I think that's I don't know, there's a level of respect that needs to sort of go on there. Okay, so the times where I have dated someone where they constantly talked about their baby mama, they were not over their baby mama. Okay, surprise, surprise. They definitely were not over that person, and that's kind of what you need to sort of pay attention to, is if this person is constantly talking about this person and then constantly talking bad about this person, then they're probably not over that person. So, I know a lot of married couples that will talk badly about their current spouse or ex-spouse, say that they're separated. I talked about this in my dating video, but they will say those things and then they will be the victim in the story always. And I know a couple different scenarios, not just my own, but friends of mine, where that person that they were dating was not separated and was still with their partner. So that is a major red flag to look out for. Okay, the next major red flag I think is hot and cold energy. Texting and being all things, and then like the next day you don't hear from them at all. Again, each scenario is different, and everybody's work life is going to be different, and everybody's relationship is going to be different. But I think you can tell, you get like that gut feeling when you get that hot and cold energy, and I don't think it's good. Even if you're like extremely busy, right? The most, important people always get back to the people that they love. So I'm going to mention something about this though, about me personally. So when I used to work at the airport, I worked at LAX airport for 10 years, right? So when I used to work there, it was a very long day and a very stressful job, right? Even though it was my regular thing that I did every day and I knew what I was doing, I did not want to be on the phone on work days. I didn't even want to text on work days, okay? Like, I was dating someone and I did not want to text on work days, so I had to have that conversation with that person because that person might think I'm hot and cold energy, which I wasn't, but I could not wake up and start texting someone. I needed to wake up and like prep my food, prep my coffee, get my clothes ready, get my hair and makeup ready. Like, there was a lot to do, and I had to leave my house like 3 hours early, right? So that was just a lot. I had to take a shuttle. I had to park in an employee parking lot. I had to take a shuttle. There was construction, so we wouldn't even get dropped off at our terminal. We were dropped off like 4 terminals down. We had to walk. So then we had to go through the security dog once we got inside the airport. Mind you, I've already walked a couple miles by this time, and then I have to walk through the dog along with everybody else. There's no separate entrance, okay? You think that, and there used to be, but they just don't really care about us. I'll put it that way. So we are just in with everyone. We're going under ropes. We're going under, like, you need to be agile because we're going under ropes. We're going through people. If you had like a good agent, security agent, they would help you get through. This is every day, okay? So you're going through the security dog. You are going, after the security dog, you're going through TSA. You may beep, you may get a pat down, they may need to swab your hands. And going back to the dog, one time the dog smelled candy in my purse and I had to go back 3 times. Okay, they kept yelling recycle and I'm like, what's recycle? I had to go back through the dog 3 times and they were so rude. I'm not saying that all the agents are rude because some of them are super nice, but that day I was like gonna lose it. So I had to go through the dog 3 times, and then I had to go through TSA, and then I had to walk another, I don't know how many hundreds of feet to get to my bar, go get my cash, start my day, like come into the chaos of what the bar was, which I'm sure was like always in chaos, Anyways, I feel like I'm getting sidetracked. I wanted to describe my day because I wanted to make it clear that those days could have been hot and cold energy from the person that I was dating, right? That person needed to understand, and I think sometimes they didn't, but I had to constantly reiterate, like, I cannot talk on work days. It's so chaotic, and this is just my airport job. Imagine other people's jobs, like the medical field or a trucking, the trucking industry or construction. I don't even know. Whatever job you have, I just couldn't. So for me, my life's different now. I have more freedom. I built it that way, but at that time, I could talk to you on my days off, and maybe the first or second day, yeah. Like the first day off that I had to run a million errands, so maybe the second day off would be good, But I could talk here and there, just like not in a way where I, need to get you need to communicate. Obviously, communication is key. Okay, this kind of goes hand in hand with the red flag of someone forgetting to text you back. So, I don't like it when guys are like, oh, I responded to your text in my head. And I've had that happen a couple times, and I'm like, I don't know. I feel like that's fine because I do that too. But if you're thinking about that person, you go back and text them anyways, even if you forgot to respond to something, you should be thinking about them and going back to text them at some point. So the forgetting to text back and, oh, I texted you in my head, that's okay for the moment, but you should, they should get back to you at some point. Okay, another red flag is love bombing. I think a lot of people have gone through this. So if someone is just like too much on you and saying all the right things and all the good stuff, and it's feeling like it's kind of off to you, then it probably is. So I would definitely say too much too soon for the love bombing. Pay attention to that. Okay, 2 a.m. texting is another red flag. Now, I don't mind 2 a.m. texting. You can text me 24 hours a day, actually. I'm like always awake, every couple hours. But the 2 a.m. texting is only okay if you have been texting me at regular hours as well, There's some people you just text all day and all night, that's fine. But if it's like always 2 a.m. texting, no. Or if you haven't heard from them in a long time and then they text you at 2 a.m., no. Another red flag is communication being very limited, just like a couple words, or they don't communicate well. At this point, I feel like we're grown, and you should know how to communicate and ask me questions and go back and forth, tell me about your day, whatever. This goes along with someone not asking questions about you, like you ask them questions or whatever, and they never ask anything about you. They don't want to know anything about you. That's a red flag. Another red flag I've written down is someone that is impatient with wait staff, with restaurant staff, or any kind of staff. I've had this happen as well, and I'm no longer dating that person as well. This was like years ago, and I actually brought it up to that person. They weren't rude to the staff from what I remember, but the minute we would sit down, they would ask for a menu, and you could tell that that person needed a minute to get our menus, so I don't like someone who's pushy with the wait staff or anything like that. So I did bring it up to that person, and we did have a conversation about it, but just didn't end up being a good fit. In general, we stayed friends, but yeah. Okay, another red flag is someone who pushes your boundaries when you have laid them out already. So let me give you an example of when I tell guys the 5-day rule that I talked about in my last video, in one of my last videos. Some guys think they're funny, and they'll be like, oh, we could do all that in one day. We could do those 5 dates in one day. And I'm like, okay, if it's a joke, that's fine. I love to laugh. But if you keep saying that, then that's a major ick for me. So if I lay my boundaries out, don't push them. And honestly, I wish I didn't have to make those rules, right? I don't want to lay out a million rules for people. But the reason of people pushing my boundaries is why I had to make those rules, Okay, guys, there might be some more red flags that I have, but I can't really think of them off the top of my head right now. Sometimes I'm walking around in my day and I think of extra things. But if I do, then I'll just put hey, what are you doing? I hate that. Again, this has happened to me. That's why I'm talking about it. And this is every gender. Again, I want to mention that. This is guys, girls, any gender. This is for everyone. Red and green flags. Okay, a good texter, obviously green flag. A guy or girl or anyone, any gender that sends you flowers, sends you food, sends you medicine if you need it, if you're not feeling well, ginger ale and crackers if you're having, a day where you don't feel good. Someone who doesn't forget holidays, that's nice. Special occasions, someone who remembers things that you like or don't like, that's a green flag. Someone who supports you fully in what you do, so you don't have to sort of feel insecure or double think like what you're doing, People could be very judgy about your occupation or anything that you do in life. Maybe you want to be an artist, maybe you want to, work on cars, maybe you want to be in social media, maybe you don't want to do the norm, or maybe you do want to be the norm, maybe you want to be an accountant, maybe you want to be in finance, and someone is like, not used to that. This person you're dating should support you in everything that you do. Okay, another green flag is this person is kind to everyone. Not just you. They're kind to you, but they're also kind to everyone. That's really important. This also goes along with someone who has empathy, for others. And this, they don't just say oh, that's their problem, let them deal with it. They have empathy for other people. And there's a fine line there too, and a boundary there too. They don't have to be jumping up and down for everyone because you come first. That's very important, But it's nice if they have empathy for others. Okay, another green flag I wrote down is if someone backs me up or sticks up for me and doesn't let other people put me down, right? So even if someone's joking about me or laughing or making fun of me, my partner better have my back, And then another green flag I wrote down is this person makes me feel calm. Is this person your peace? Do you feel calm and at peace when you're around them? Then that's a green flag. And then also, this person respects my boundaries. They, they don't push my boundaries. They are happy with following my, 5-date rule, or even if they have rules, I feel like someone did tell me, they turned it around on me and did tell me something about their rules, and I thought it was hilarious, but I like that. I think that's funny. But yeah, it's definitely a green flag if they respect my boundaries and they don't push me to, do things I don't want to do. The fridge in my hotel room just went off, so sorry if that's loud, you guys. Okay, I want to end this video off by saying there is room for forgiveness, okay? And it's up to you to sort of figure that out, And I think that I am very forgiving too. That's why I'm saying that. And I think if you forgive that person and they don't continue to do that thing that bothers you to where you're constantly having to forgive them, then I think that that's great. And again, I've had this happen too, a certain issue is bothering you. So instead of like letting it get bigger and bigger in your head, I think it's good to bring it up, and then hopefully you guys can talk about it and that person can fix the problem or whatever. If it's something about you, you can fix the problem. So I hope that this video helped you guys. I hope it helped to answer the some of the red flags and green flags in dating, and I wish you